This time last year, I was in a cast over my elbow and I wasn't running at all. Fast forward to now, I'm running some of my best times ever.
Stevie Lawrence, the quickest on paper. She has absolutely dominated the field. She's led from the very first gun to the very end, pending any disaster. What could have been for her on the final bend?
So I've decided to go on a bit of a walk. Beautiful around here. I'm gonna just pause it there so that you can see this hill that I've just walked up and understand why I sound so breathless. For real, this hill is so steep and I would never usually go up it, but there was people the way that I wanted to go and I don't like talking in front of people, so I decided to climb this monster of a hill rather than film in front of people. So where was I? I broke my arm, right? That was it. So what happened in this race? I competed at the Loughborough International, which is where they take one person from England, Scotland, Wales, and I think a Great Britain junior team. This race was my debut for England, so such a huge honour. Really something that I have been wanting for many years. This race was going so well. I had led from the very start. It got to the bell lap and I was like, I feel good. My hurdles have gone great. My water jumps have been great. I think that I'm on track for a PB and I can push. I feel really good.
Stevie Lawrence still leads. She was third at the NC Division 2s in 2022 and fifth at the UK Champs in the same year. So we know she's a class athlete and she's really shown that today. Look at her solo in the camera shot, which shows that she's drawn out of the rest of the field.
That was what I did. I pushed myself on that last lap. I got to the final water barrier.
But she has absolutely dominated the field. She's led from the very first gun to the very end.
And in my head, I was like, this race isn't over. You still have another water barrier to get over. You need to get over this safely.
Pending any disaster in this final 200 meters.
I ran up to the barrier. I jumped and splat head under water on this barrier. And what had happened is that I had, with my fatigue and just misjudging it, I had kicked the inside of the barrier closest to me and literally tipped straight forward, nosedive into the water. And in the process, I reached out my hand to break my fall, and it was in that moment that I fractured my arm. But I had so much adrenaline, but I wanted to win this race so badly. So I got up and I sprinted that last 150 meters to the line. And there's still another barrier to get over before the end of the race. So I ran. I was like, I don't want these girls to catch me now. And I got over the last barrier and I crossed the finish line in first place in 10:06, which was 3 seconds away from my PB at the time.
And despite her hiccup there on the water jump that I'm sure she will be a bit annoyed with, she runs a 10:06.58, so just 3 seconds outside her personal best. What could have been for her on the final bend if she didn't clip that hurdle? There was potential for a personal best there.
As soon as that adrenaline wore off, I was in so much pain. You can see on the finish line photos, I'm holding my arm limply. I was struggling to shake the other girl's hands and people were talking to me, but all I knew was that I was in a lot of pain. I literally got on a coach back home. So I got on a bus with this broken arm and went to the Croydon A&E, and I left in a cast over my elbow with a notice that I was going to be in it for at a minimum 6 to 8 weeks. I debuted for England, broke my arm and won the race. Yeah, great. I was so happy to win that race. So happy to represent England, but like at what cost? You know, people have asked me like, do you regret going to that race? And I'm like, no, I don't regret it, because running for England has been a dream of mine since I was 12, and it was an amazing experience all up until I broke that arm. So yeah, it really is mixed emotions. It's gutting because I knew I was in the best shape of my life going into that race, and I had really high hopes for British champs. I would bike in the morning, kind of just a spin, and in the afternoon I would do this speed walk from where I was living to the Twin Lakes, which is, I have to calculate what the elevation gain is there, but it's basically just a real big hill up towards the mountains, and I would speed walk and I time it, I think it was like 3 miles, like get the heart rate up in a different way, you know, use my legs. I was very fortunate it wasn't a leg injury. I wanted to prove myself so bad that I literally took the cast off myself too early, and I ripped this cast off. Like, plaster was going everywhere and I was just over it. I was over wearing the cast, and I took it off, and in America I wasn't paying for them to take that cast off me. I didn't have any money, so I did it myself and I didn't care, and it wasn't a good decision. Do not try this at home. I wanted to do British champs, so I took the cast off and I ran for maybe a week and a half and raced the British champs. It was not good. I felt terrible. I finished 3rd at British champs, something that I never thought I would be able to do. And I came away with a bronze medal, and I was unhappy with it. I ran 10:06 again 3 seconds off of my PB after not running for over a month. I was not ready for that race, and I actually injured myself further doing that race. I had strained my calf on the water jumps. In the middle of the race, I had done that. There I was, back on the bike, back not running, again in the gym every day, and at this point I'm back in the UK, in Croydon, lovely place, great vibes, not really knowing what the future was going to hold for me. So why am I filming this now? It was a year ago, because it's a good timestamp to reflect for me how things are different now compared to this time last year. And it's relevant now in this Olympic year because I'm seeing a lot of others that are going through serious injuries, and it's not the year that it was meant to be for them. And it's really difficult, especially when it's some of those long-term injuries and you really don't know what the future holds. So I hope that this can be helpful for others, to show that it may be an injury that ends your year, but it doesn't end your career. I'm so happy to still be pursuing my goals and to have turned that year around so much. I have had so much fun training this year. Don't give up. Do not give up. This is your sign. If you're doubting it, do not give up. There he is. Evil eyes. Eepy eyes.